What we do here is go back.
Hey, what's up? We're back, walking and talking, episode 44, I think. I may be wrong, but hey, 44. We're gonna go with that. Yeah, sorry about last week. Last week was kind of iffy on my video releases. This week, I'm trying to be better. We're gonna get on schedule. I'm gonna get all my videos on time each day. Hold me to that. So, today is Monday, bringing back episode 2 of My Gear Monday, because I want to review some tech products. And I feel like I've been failing, but last week was Memorial Day, so I wasn't gonna do a video anyway. Didn't want to do something that special. So let's get into it. We're gonna talk about the camera I'm recording this on, which is a GoPro Hero 7 Black. I will say I don't want to say GoPro aficionado, because I haven't owned that many. I've owned four counting this one. Starting with the GoPro Hero 4. GoPro Hero 4 Black, which was the first one with 4K, but it wasn't the new body style, which came around in the 5, which is very similar to the GoPro Hero 7 that you're watching me on right now, with like the waterproof housing and all that. But I love that camera. That camera had great audio. You did have to put it in a case to make it waterproof and drop proof, but it just worked. It was really, really good. And I loved that camera a lot. After that, I got a GoPro Hero 5 Session, which is that little cube-shaped one, which I would say it and the GoPro Hero 4 are a toss-up to my favorite of all-time GoPro cameras. To use though, the GoPro Hero 7 Black is my favorite by a lot. And I don't mean by a little, I mean by a ton, by a Texas mile. The reason why is the stabilization. While hyper smooth, I thought when I first heard about it, it's like, electronic stabilization, not optical image stabilization, all that pretentiousness that comes from being kind of an audio video nerd. I was all about the gimbal life, but this camera has changed my mind. And the reason why it's changed my mind is because gimbals are complicated. They do the task of smoothing incredibly well. I love that stabilization tech has gotten amortized down to a point where everybody can go out and get a DJI Osmo for like 200 bucks. It makes your camera phone footage ridiculously stable. Or you can go get a $500 drone that has a 2 or 3 axis gimbal in it, which works amazingly well and grants you these cable cam and helicopter smooth shots for less than $1,000. Amazing, and I love that. But electronic image stabilization is kind of something that camera nerds are always kind of a bit skeptical of. The reason why is because the way optical image stabilization works is they basically float the lens. So while the camera body moves, the lens is fixed and the image sensor is attached to the lens. And so the image is basically smoother than the movement of the camera body. Electronic image stabilization takes, like, say this is your whole frame, it crops in a little bit and moves that frame around inside, like the image around inside that full frame, not capturing everything, but giving you smoother footage. And when you used to do that, you'd lose some resolution. So say you had a 4K sensor, you were recording with electronic image stabilization on, you just get a smaller, less resolution, less information picture, which is kind of annoying. Because when you're recording video, you want all of those pixels. You want every bit of information you can get. And so when GoPro announced Hypersmooth, it's kind of like, we'll see. This vlog is proof. I've gone out riding a bunch of times with it. Super stable, super crisp. Walking around, it does a great job of getting rid of some of the camera movement and the bob. Even when you're running, it actually does a pretty good job. And most of all, it means when I run out of the house, I don't have to have a gimbal charged, and I don't have to deal with another piece of technology, And if I'm gonna mount it to my chest or my face or my head, I don't have this honking heavy large gimbal attached to me. Even though I have a super light waterproof gimbal for a GoPro, having this hyper smooth has made my life worlds easier. Because hey, one less thing to charge is the best. We all know this. It's the reason why I think a lot of people are still not completely sold on stuff like the Apple Watch and even wireless headphones, because it's just another thing you have to remember to put on that pad or plug in every day and make sure it's charged. Just another little nuisance a lot of people don't want or need. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of this review. Obviously you can tell why I love this camera, and it's basically hyper smooth. So let's go into the stuff I don't like as much, because I like to end on a positive note. So what I don't like what I don't like as much about this camera in particular is that it's not a step forward in imaging tech. When compared to the Hero 6, this camera and the Hero 6 are near on identical. Really the only difference is hyper smooth and a few extra sharing options and the ability to shoot in vertical video, which I understand for social media buffs out there, gurus who want to record in vertical video because that's where your content's going to end up. Cool. For everybody else, never. Your eyes are wide. Screen should be wide. The only reason you hold the phone vertically is because it's comfortable to hold like that for long periods of time. So, always recording. You can always crop in. You can't add more later on the outside. What is that? I'll show you in a second. Completely distracted. So the things that, besides the not the jump forward in image tech, I wish it had either 8K or even higher, but again, that's asking quite a bit from an action camera. It would be nice, but it's not the end of the world. That I'm guessing it's like a giant mosquito. Oh, emerald ash borer beetles. Cool. Save your trees. Okay, where were we? So GoPro Hero 5. The other thing I am not 100% on is I wish the battery life was better. It's good. Usually I can get about 45 minutes to an hour worth of recording, which for home video, that is actually quite a lot. But I would have loved to see like 2 hours of runtime, maybe even more, especially when you're shooting stuff like time lapses or hyper lapses where you're playing back footage extremely fast. It would be nice to have the ability to record longer, but again, not the end of the world that it doesn't. These are kind of little minor gripes. So let's get into what I love about this camera. Besides hyper smooth, we've talked about it. First, it's waterproof and durable. The camera on it, the camera itself is waterproof. It doesn't need a housing, doesn't to be waterproof. It does if you're gonna go diving, but if you're gonna go diving, you're kind of looking at specialized equipment anyway. This is fine, I think up to 30 meters. Maybe you're wrong, I think it's 30 meters, but great for that. Next, I love the screen on the back. It's as good as the Hero 6 and 5. Both had a similar arrangement. It doesn't incredibly affect the battery life. I wish there was a way to wake it up a little easier while you're recording, because it does like just shut off after like 30 seconds to a minute of recording. So it'd be nice to have a little way to kind of tap it to keep it awake if you're shooting that direction. And other than that, I mean, everything else I love about it is just what I love about the GoPro ecosystem. You have a ton of cool accessories, great support, uses micro SD and not some other proprietary format. The shape and size of it, I wish it was more like the Session, where it's just that little cube, which is super non-invasive and kind of discreet. But again, little nitpicks. Everything else about it, aces. If I was going to recommend somebody get a GoPro, I think at this point it has to be. The two little ones now that are on offer, which is the GoPro Hero 7, I believe it's called the white and the silver. The white, they shed a lot of features. I believe it's only 1080p. I think it only does, it doesn't do like any real stabilization, and it doesn't have the screen on the back. I mean, it's great if you want to give your kids a camera that they can just record little videos on. The silver has the screen, but I think it's hamstrung with not having the hyper smooth stabilization, which I think is the killer feature from this round of GoPros. And then looking backwards, obviously you can get Hero 5s and Hero 6s for a little less than you can a Hero 7 Black. Would I recommend it? If it's gonna be an isolated shot, or you're gonna stick it on like a mount on a car or a mount on your helmet, yeah. To be honest, I think the 6 and the 7, the image is near on identical. There's a few little like HDR camera features in the 7 that you may want, but other than that, not a huge difference. So if you want to save a bit of money and you're just going to use it for B-roll, time lapses, or attaching to car, helmet, whatever, yeah, consider the 6. I think it's as good. But that said, if you want an all-around great camcorder that's durable, easy to use, point and shoot, anybody can use it, anybody can pull the footage off of it with good app support, accessory support, I don't think you can go wrong with the GoPro Hero 7 Black, which is why I give it the wholehearted thumbs up. It's one of my favorite pieces of camera tech, one of my favorite pieces of gear. It's awesome. So that's it. That's what I think about my GoPro Hero 7. If you have any other questions about my GoPro Hero 7 or just curious about the GoPro products, leave in the comments. I will definitely hang out, answer anything that pops up. Other than that, thank you for joining me today. Hopefully I'll see you bright and early tomorrow. Thank you all for joining me. This has been Walking and Talking, episode 44. Follow me on Instagram, subscribe, like, all that YouTube stuff. Peace. Bye.